We'll call this February 23rd Brown County Commission meeting to order. Commissioner Piker, lead us in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning.
Morning.
First item on the agenda is to approve the agenda.
Move it.
I'll second it.
Any corrections, updates?
Nope.
We have a motion by Kipley, a second by Fikert. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, we have the second reading and adoption of rezone ordinances 187 and 188, mini ag rezones.
We'll do ordinance 187. This is the applicant Kerry Conda, and he's looking to go from agricultural preservation district to mini ag. The legal description is Lot 1, Richmond Sunset Edition, in the northwest quarter of Section T, 124 North, R 65 west of the 5th PM.
I'll move it.
Second. Moved by Fikert, second by Weiss, to authorize the adoption of rezone ordinance 187. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
We have ordinance 188. Applicant is Earl Seppanen, looking to go from agricultural preservation district to mini ag. The legal address is Lot 1, Reach Subdivision, in the northwest quarter of Section 8, T 126 North, R 63 west of the 5th PM.
Move it.
Second. Moved by Fikert, second by Weiss, to take the adoption of rezone ordinance 188. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item, we have Dave Lunsman, Chief Deputy Sheriff, regarding a jail vehicle. I think Len was out there.
Don't change your mind.
Nobody there, huh?
There, I'll
Oh.
Full.
Well, you're lucky, we were just ready to go on.
Nice, change your mind.
Standing out talking. Morning.
Morning.
All right. Well, the reason we're coming is to kind of talk to you about an opportunity that came about that we were not prepared for, but we're going to present it to you guys, and you guys can decide from there. Our jail van is obviously a bit on the older side, has 240,000 miles on it. We have had some small issues with it, nothing that's catastrophic, but it starts worrying us when we start putting money into a van that's got that many miles. And it's got to be on the road a minimum of twice a week. We're running quite a bit of miles on it. A van out at Chrysler Center came up for sale. It's a 2016 with 47,000 miles on it. It it would fit the current cage, so we don't have to worry about another cage. It would go in there and not have to worry about it. And that was a big thing, because those cages actually cost more than the vehicles. They're in that $38,000 to $42,000 range just for a cage. And back when this was purchased, back in 2017, the county purchased it for $1,700 with a cage.
The van you have?
The van we have was purchased for $1,700
Oh, wow.
with a cage. We didn't. It's a quote. There you go. Yes. They have also stated that they would take trade-in with the van. I'm not so sure that's our best option for the county, mainly because we have a Montana van right now, and we have nothing but trouble with that thing. It doesn't want to start, doesn't want to run, we have more trouble with it than it's worth. We would much rather keep this van, use it for the kids that we do the community service stuff with, and because it stays here in Aberdeen, we could probably still use it for that. But this quote here it's a good quote. We checked with the surplus down in Huron. They have an identical van, same year, except 20,000 more miles for $500 less, but we have 20,000 more miles on it. So to us, that's not the best option. This is a reasonable option. All we're doing is telling you that this is available. We did not budget for this because we had not planned on this until next year. That was our plan, was to purchase one next year. But with the van that came, this one coming forth, it at least gives you guys an option, an idea of what it is. Also, on the other side, I want to give you full disclosure, this van brings in about $8,700 last year alone. The year before is a little over $7,300. That's how much money we get back because of transporting on the shuttle.
Is this the one that goes rapid?
No, well, the whole system does, but we go to Mitchell,
Mitchell and then
twice
over?
a week,
Okay.
yes, to catch up with that bus. So that's why it's so important that we get that there. It does bring in some money. It's not a complete drain on the budget, but there's still costs associated. So I just wanted to make sure you guys were aware of what's available, what we got in front of us, and see what you think.
So you're trading in the Montana van or the 2006 Chevy Express, or what is this?
That quote came in with a trade-in for the current van, the Express van. I don't think that's our best option, though. For $1,000, we could get more use than that Montana gives us here. We would need to get rid of that Montana.
So it'd be the 19 and change, not the 18.
Correct.
Well, is the Montana tradable to this?
We'd have to ask them. We
Okay.
didn't ask them at the time, but just this last week, we've been having more trouble with Montana, and we decided that it would be easier. We didn't have time to get them to look at the Montana to see if they would take it, or if it,
What does the Montana got for miles?
do you know?
Approximate?
It's a
It's
lot.
up there, it's over 150,000. We've had that Montana for quite a few years. Way back when Tom was chief deputy, we had bought it, so.
Be nice to get rid of something. One less
Well, I
piece
think the
of inventory.
Montana I'd like to see them look what the trade is. I mean, if it's minimal the way it looks is what they're gonna get.
Correct.
I don't know what that Montana is, what it would bring on surplus auction, but it's probably a good idea to just check and see what they'd give us for it.
Correct.
Do you have any idea what was this 2016, do you have any idea what it was being used for? Where did it come from? It wouldn't have been like a railroad,
I don't know where they
yeah,
came
I mean,
from.
just
Did they tell
curiosity.
you?
I know when I buy used or whatever, I always kind of curious as to
What's the
what
history?
they've been used for before.
Correct. And this is a one-ton van, which gets us that weight, because that insert is fairly heavy. And then when you start throwing 9 to 10 people back there, that you start adding up weight fairly quick.
You got heavier springs and axle and
Correct.
suspension and everything.
Who trades the cage out? Who does the work for you when they...
Well, we've been kind of kicking that in the air because this, Kent had done this, one similar to this before. But I don't know if he's got the time. Otherwise, it'd have to be a Dakota Electronics thing. That thing is heavy, very, very heavy.
Yeah, because if we bought that van today, I'd have to have it on the road Friday. It's gotta be ready to go, because it needs to go down a
So you
minute.
got that expense to add on to that, or...
There will be some expense. That expense, we can absorb that expense without much difficulty, but we don't have, at least with the direction, with the amount of people in jail and stuff, I don't know where we're gonna be able to squeeze that in our budget. It's early in the year, how do we know? We don't. But unfortunately, with the current
Well-
conditions, we'll probably,
But you do know that insert fits.
correct, yes, we made sure of that.
I guess I understand, you're hauling these people to Yankton and all over, and you got a 240,000 mile van. It'd be a little embarrassing, you get stuck halfway between here and there, and you got prisoners, what do you do with them?
Correct.
We're gonna have to call in every favor we have. We can't get to them fast enough.
More than embarrassing.
Could be a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be.
We've been down that road before where we had to call in favors.
It happens.
It worked out okay, but I'd rather not do it.
It could be a little embarrassing.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit.
No doubt. But that's why we brought it to you guys. We totally understand that we did not budget this year, but with this van that came up, these 3500s don't always come up very often, and that's why when it was presented to us that it was out there, we thought we had to bring it to you guys. At least offer it.
I think it makes sense, but, see what you can get off of the one. Let's get rid of one piece of equipment for the other.
I would just hold their feet to the fire, tell them, we'll trade, but you're gonna give us 1,000 for the Montana, just like they offered.
Want
Well,
to
they
make that
might-
a motion?
They might give us two.
Yeah. Well, you can always ask for
You
two.
should have said if they're listening, now they're only gonna give us $1,000.
I forget you're from a little further west area of the country. I'm from Loyola country. You work a harder deal than I do.
If that's a motion, I'd second it. You want them to negotiate it, or?
Why don't you go check it out and see if they'll give you $1,000 for the Montana, and then let us, or is it something that's gotta be done this week?
No?
Tell him it's what we
The only-
approved. Tell him it's what we approved.
Yeah.
If
Okay.
he's not making the motion, I will.
Okay.
All
I
right?
tell him
second it.
Great.
Approved with the stipulation that we trade the
Based
one
on,
in.
yeah, we try to get 1,000 out of that Montana.
Montana, yeah, okay.
So you don't like my idea anymore, huh? We have a motion for Weiss, we have a second for Pfeiffer to authorize the approval by the person the van as long as we have the $1,000 trade-in. Is that correct?
For the Montana.
Montana.
Yeah.
Okay, now we need, with the Montana, will I need to get that in surplus, or will that take care of in this motion, or how does that
I
work?
think that takes care of the motion.
Take care of it.
Okay, just making sure I didn't need to bring that.
Kathy, do we need a separate motion to,
Yeah, we need to declare the Montana surplus and authorize it to be traded in.
So make it part of the motion, please.
Okay.
Okay.
And then I'll get you the Montana information for the records, right?
Yep, and then we'll also need a copy of the approved purchase.
Okay,
Mhm.
thank you very much,
Okay,
appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Get it done.
see what happens?
Start wheeling and dealing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
I will need some help.
Oh, will you?
Whenever it's
Yeah, I do some of.
Just holler at me.
Okay, I
Some of the
will.
work release.
Well, that takes care of the agenda items. Mike, did you have something for us?
Yeah, I was just here just to, if you had any questions on that request from Ashley for use of the landfill, on that letter that's in the packet. I didn't know if you had any further questions on them bringing their waste to the Brown County landfill or not. but-
I guess you're comfortable with it?
I'm comfortable with it.
I make a
500-600
motion to
ton.
approve.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Kipley, a second by Pfeiffer to approve the Ashley
Request for landfill use.
request for landfill use. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Seems to me like anything that Ashley can do to reduce their amount of material they bring here,
Yeah, it's a bonus for
more
them.
power to them.
Mhm. Yep.
We're
That's all I've
regional
got.
and they're a customer.
Unless you guys have anything else right now?
Well, this is...
Right, it's not on the agenda, so.
Well, I talked with Dirk yesterday, and just for a heads up, he's thinking if this weather stays nice, mode limits may come on a little earlier than normal. So we're not going to act on it today, but be prepared. If it stays nice, it could be sooner than what we normally would do. So he just wanted me to give a heads up for that.
So what the temperature does.
Fingers crossed.
Frost comes out.
Okay, well, I guess we're on to Kathy's agenda.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep.
Yep.
We have minutes from February 16th.
Move on.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Pfeiffer, to approve the general meetings from February 16th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Claims.
Move. Second. Have a motion by Pfeiffer, and a second by Feldheim, to authorize claims. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Lease.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Pfeiffer, to approve the leases. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Claim assignments.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Pfeiffer, second by Kipley, to authorize the auditor to sign the claim assignments. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Abatement.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Pfeiffer, second by Kipley, to approve the abatements. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Fair contract.
Second.
Moved by Kipley, second by Pfeiffer, to approve the fair contracts. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Plat.
Move.
Second.
Moved by Pfeiffer, second by Kipley, to approve the plats. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Set hearing date for rezone ordinance is the mini egg.
Second.
Moved by Kepley, second by Thacker, to set the hearing date for a rezone for mini ag. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Multiple interment request.
Move.
Second. Oh, sorry, you're fine.
Moved by Kepley, second by Weiss to approve the multiple interim request. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And so we have set hearing date for Brown County Fair ordinance.
Move it.
Second, do we have the language for that yet, though?
Yes. I got this yesterday from Sonia. Approves all contracts that do not require a formal bid or quote per Brown County Policy Manual under Purchasing Policy and Replacement Procedures for a signature by fair manager. Contracts that do not require a formal bid or quote will be sent to the Brown County, or contracts that do require a formal bid or quote will be sent to Brown County Commission for final approval. So, at first we had a dollar amount in here, and then I asked to remove the dollar amount and just mirror the manual. So if the manual changes, we don't need an ordinance change. So we tried to keep it just to match the
Mhm.
manual.
And there was no issues from state's attorney? Think that's a good move, or?
I don't see any problem with it.
Doesn't care.
Just wanted to make sure, because once upon a time, there was a reason we did it, and we want
Well,
to
it
make
just-
sure the reason has been fixed.
It just seems to me like we've got errors and omissions on coverage, and we've got, I just don't see them make sense.
And keep in mind that the fair board members aren't the ones actually preparing the voucher and submitting it to the commissioners for approval and the check to be cut. It still goes through the actual fair manager. So you have that county employee right there
Right.
mediating the whole
Mhm.
process.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to set the hearing date for county fair ordinance. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And what is that date?
The hearing date?
Yeah.
We're gonna, where are we at?
23rd of February.
So we're going to publish the next 2 Wednesdays, which will be the 3rd and the 10th, and so the hearing will be on March 16th.
Sounds good.
Anything else, Kathy?
That is everything that we have.
Do we have any public comment or anything else to come before the commission?
Just a question for Ross. We had talked earlier about making some changes in the ordinance that would allow for the county to be able to charge for the BPAC compliant hauling on the county roads. Is that, where's that at?
I sent everybody the information, and then I kind of just died.
So we've,
Well, I think
it's been so far, it's
It's their
been,
CAFO. I can resend all that.
maybe do that.
Wasn't the reason, though, that they decided they couldn't do it? It wasn't on our end, I think it was on their end that they decided that it wasn't gonna work for them.
The B plan?
Yeah, that's the way I understood it.
I can't remember.
Well, what difference does it make if it works for them? If
Well, they got all it somewhere.
Yeah, but I think they picked something else up or decided to do something different, is my understanding what we had
But
talked.
we still should have it in the ordinance that would allow us to do it if they would change their mind.
Yeah,
And,
I can resend all that.
if you can do that, and then maybe next Tuesday we can talk about it again. Because I think eventually, so Larson Feedlot's got a deal approved to be able to haul to their feedlot.
The state shut that down.
Yeah, the state set that up, but they would be hauling on the county roads to get
Yeah.
there, and it would give the county the option of maybe putting a charge on that to get that material up there. Because now, and what prompted this was yesterday, I got a phone call from an individual that lives up on Brown County 5, and they've been hauling like crazy the last week or so here, and he keeps putting the pressure on. He wants to know why McPherson County is charging and Brown County isn't. So,
Sounds good, yeah. If you want to resend it, we can get something done on that.
anything else to come before the commission?
that was a short
Oh,
one.
we did have communication council last week. We can forward the minutes. I don't remember if she sent them to everyone or not, but we did authorize a $2 or support from the communication council for a $2 raise for our dispatchers. Both the first time step increases, there's a whole new step, and then also for the shift supervisors, $2 raise for those as well. We did not give or support as a communication council the raises for the director or assistant director at this time, just because when we look at the 911 fund, we're not sure it's sustainable as far as all these, we know we got to do something right now when we're so low compared to the surrounding counties as far as getting dispatchers in the seats, but we wanted to wait and see where we're at for the raises for the other folks. So.
Also, with anticipation of giving the raise to match other 911 dispatchers, hopefully we can, once establish a full crew, take the pressure off our director and our assistant director. That was one of the other thoughts, is that there was an article for Edmonds County was looking for a dispatcher for Edmonds County, and they were actually paying way more than what we were paying to start out. And what's happening is he's losing his 3 and 4 and his experience to businesses in town because they're paying more. So we have to, and the nice thing about it is, and this may sound stupid, but this would be the best place to give a raise because it's shared a third, a third, a third. Because the state pays for the phone calls, the city pays for theirs, and we pay for ours. So the action, when you give that raise, you're not looking at the full $2 or $3 raise. You're only paying a portion of that.
Yeah, because it's coming out of the overall budget, which is made up by those
3
other
entities.
entities.
So, and if that's the case, and, you know, we did lose 2 very experienced dispatchers due to the fact that the salary wasn't there, and you figure that it's a stressful job, and it's not an 8-to-5 job by any means, so you have to kind of go with what the market's demanding you to do to keep the people.
And I can't remember, was it 3 or 4? We have 3 or 4 openings right now for dispatchers.
For sure, and I thought it was 4.
We're spending over $60,000 a year on overtime because we just don't have the people in there.
Well, that training is costs too.
Right. Training, and it's a lot of pressure,
Definitely.
a lot of responsibility.
So
So,
anyway, now instead of 17, it's 19 something, starting for dispatcher, if anybody interested. As long as this body and the city are good with it.
and I don't know, you know, the communication council approved it. That doesn't necessarily mean, I guess the next step is the commission somehow is going to have to approve that. And my question was, and this was kind of an afterthought, well, the communication council approved it, but we didn't put a date. Does that start
Yeah,
3 weeks from
normally it
now or
comes
5
here
weeks from now, or
To the
when
city.
do we make that decision, I guess, is what I'm looking
On
at.
it?
It'll have to come through an HR report that, you
I
know,
was just
Ken
gonna
can
say
add
it'll be
to
on
the
next week's HR report, because
Okay.
they'll get the information.
Because technically they are county employees, so they come through our payroll system.
And we still have an obligation to report the employee and the salary in the minutes. We just can't go through communications council.
Well, that was my point. They gave the
We have partners.
authority,
yeah.
but that doesn't give them the full authority for us to do it. There was a
Because we
separate
cut
action.
the check, basically, all right?
There had to be an action
We're
taken by
cutting
this
checks.
board to approve what the communication recommended.
Correct.
So do we need to do that?
Next
It'll
week.
be on
Next week.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Clear as mud. Anything else come before the commission?
I'll have all the employees listed with their new wages, and then I'll have the new step increase schedule also. I received all that information yesterday afternoon.
Okay.
So,
Very good.
I participated in a Zoom meeting just to explore the possibility with partners, Game Fish and Parks in the city, and some other interested parties about the possibility of putting a range on the quarter sectional land, a portion of it that's directly east of the landfill. And the conversation is basically, you know, the county would be interested in possibly participating as long as the use of the property was already in kind without any additional expenses. And making available fill that we've got more than enough of across in the next section where the landfill is at, if need be. So they were going to do some work to see about size of footprint and wetlands issues and the rest of that kind of stuff and move forward with that. But there are some resources that they'd like to utilize to expand some of those opportunities here in Brown County. So you got any questions or wants to participate in that conversation going forward. So I was visiting with Mike, and he's on board with where we're going with it so far, so.
Anything else?
I think, I called Doug last night, we had quite a conversation about what's going on up in Ravinia Township as far as the $500 charge for mowing out road ditches and the ditches that have been dug in the ditches. And I gave the individual that called the phone number to the Towns and Townships attorney, and he's going to be making some calls on that. I think the guy, the township resident that's raising these concerns and these questions, I think that's a civil matter. He's going to end up hiring an attorney of his own if he wants to go any further with it, and present it at the March 2nd township meeting. And I'd lay odds that that's exactly what the township attorney that gives advice to the townships now, towns and townships, that's what he's going to tell them too. I can't believe it would be any other way.
We've advised him multiple times, he has to take it up with the township, not the county.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's no county roads involved.
Nope.
That's not our deal.
Nope. And I don't think he was very happy with that. I think he thinks that the county should be able to do something about it, but they've got their own organization, their supervisors, their clerk, their treasurer. They hold their meetings, they elect their supervisors. The county's gonna stick their nose in that.
Within our authority.
I mean, the drainage that they've done up there is incredible. I mean, just absolutely unbelievable. And I guess that's another question that I was curious about. So if you own land in a township and you're paying taxes in that township, but you're not a resident of that township, can you vote for the township supervisors? So you have no voting power, but you pay taxes in that township. I mean, I think you're right, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, we went through this a couple of years ago. I'm the clerk in Westport Township, and we lost two of our supervisors to death. And we're a small township, and to try to find somebody who wants to be a supervisor or anybody on a Westport township is almost impossible. And the case we had is we have 389th, which is a Westport Garland Road. Half is Garland, half is Westport. The supervisor we had lined up was agreed to take the job, but he lives on Garland and his mailbox is on Westport. He did not qualify because he did not live in the Westport Township. So it's pretty black and white. If you're not a registered voter in the Westport Township. And when I came on as the clerk, I was a registered Aberdeen voter. And before I could become a clerk, I had to change my registration. Even though I was living in Westport, my registration had to actually be Westport. So it's pretty specific in your handbook that you have to be the resident of the Westport or the township that you're voting in.
Some of these townships don't hardly have enough residents anymore to get enough participation. They almost need the border collie dog at the table with them.
So his action is if they're not happy with what's going on in their township, they go to the annual meeting, and if they want to run for supervisor and try to get elected, that's their solution. But outside of that,
that's a story in itself.
If they're a resident.
Anyway, for whatever that was worth.
Not our rule.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move it.
Second.
Moved by Kempley, second by Pfeiffer to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.